The Doors, a metaphor for wormholes, alien lizards from another dimension. They murdered Jim Morrison. This is the Club 27. First we take a look at the wormholes, then the alien lizards, and then the murder of Jim Morrison. These wormholes, I found out that Alice in Wonderland and Wizard of Oz are mainly about aliens moving through wormholes to another dimension. And what we believe or our opinion isn't relevant. It's about the truth based on facts. And the standard aliens and UFOs on the big Zionist news networks, they are fake. Forget about them. But the interdimensionals, the aliens moving between dimensions, being very well hidden, they might be real. Because they give this very well hidden hints that they exist. That's a strange thing. And I studied this for about 6 years, and for the last year I really got into this alien stuff because it seems so real. Like with these interdimensionals, but they are closely related to the false Jews, the Hasidic rabbis. This is the organization that they work with. They give the Hasidic rabbis commandments what to do. And the instrument which they use to control these Hasidic rabbis is the Kabbalah. And the Hasidic rabbis in their turn have an organization that's other rabbis, the Zionist Jews, the bad part of the Jews. So I am naming the Jews specifically because the Jews, the bad part of the Jews, they work for Satan. And Satan is not real. Satan is a metaphor for the aliens. So we have the other rabbis, Zionist Jews, but also Freemasons, Freemason presidents, politicians, CEOs, journalists, and they all work on Zion or the New World Order. And the instruments of control are religions, the Talmud, protocols of Zion, mix the races and destroy from inside. So we believe, or most people still believe, that our presidents and politicians mean well. But this is the organization that from within destroys the white race country. So first they take control through the Freemasons, the politicians, presidents, etc. Then they're gonna kill most of us, World War III, false Ebola, and then they realize Zion or the New World Order. So this is the basic plan, and I believe that there are aliens on top of all this. But I do mention the Jews, and here we have the Hasidic rabbis again controlling Bush, who's signing some immigration law to mix the races, for example. It's possible. But he is signing a law that benefits them in realizing the New World Order. And they have very big meetings. Because all these Hasidic rabbis, they all are focused on, some specific subjects. For schooling, universities, the weapons industry, controlling the president. They all have their subjects that they work with. And that's how they can take over the world. And there are many of these Hasidic rabbis. You always hear like, a few people cannot take over the world. Well, why not? Why not? Why not? They control Putin, Trump, they controlled Obama, they control Merkel in Europe and all the other presidents. What's the problem? It's very simple. And they work with the Kabbalah. And in the Kabbalah it says take over the world, and that is what they are doing. And the protocols of Zion, they prescribe take over the media, and that's why the media in the United States are all Zionist controlled, because of the protocols of Zion. And that's why all the names of producers of all the movies and series, they always end with Steiner, Stein, Feingold, Gold, Tannenbaum, all these Jewish names. And that's not anti-Semitic, it's a fact. This is reality. Protocols of Zion are real. Kabbalah is real. And there's another protocol of Zion, distract the people with sports and entertainment. Well, that's why all these young people, they go to all these concerts and dance events. And if you're a little bit older, you watch movies and TV, or you do video games. I mean, it's all distraction to realize the new world order. And they give some hints to unburden their karma. So divide and conquer is in the music industry. So you got your chance. There are so many hints, and I just give a few now. Protocols of Zion, it's another dance event. And here is Jessie G with the song Price Tag. In the song Price Tag, she explains that many high people, politicians, CEOs, United Nations, they're all bribed, and they all have a price tag. And we are on strings. That's all explained in a song. So the truth is in songs, movies, series, but dumb people still believe the government tells them the truth and the mass media. But this is not the case. They are controlled. But you are just too stupid and too stubborn to accept the truth. You don't love the truth, and that's why you're gonna get killed. It's your own fault. It's your own fault in the end. And there are facts that tell me aliens could very well be real. And the Pyramid of Gizeh is one of these facts. I mean, they're perfectly north-south aligned. In a time they had no compasses. How is that possible? It's not possible when they were not aided. So who aided them? That's a big question. And this is of course the star constellation of Orion. They put it on Earth in Egypt. And I went to Egypt, and today what is Egypt? It's like a big garbage place. I mean, it's incredible. This is worse. I also been in Africa. This is worse than Africa. Egypt. It's a horrible place. And these people they built the pyramids? I mean, that's impossible. It's impossible. But Egypt is very important. That's why you have this symbolism from Egypt, the time of Egypt. They put it in all these places of power today. So the obelisk from Egypt, they put it in Washington, but it's also in Paris, for example, St. Petersburg, to symbolize we controlled Egypt in the past, and today we control you too. And who? Well, probably the aliens. How else could they have built all these things in Egypt? And they not only put the pyramids and obelisk in power places, but also in the media and publications, the pyramid and the all-seeing eye. The all-seeing eye is symbol for Ra or Satan. So this is Satan, a symbol for Satan. I told you, if you remember, Satan is not real, that's correct, but he's a symbol for the aliens. So basically, what we have here is a symbol. We are the aliens and we built the pyramids. That's what you see here. And in the dollar. And this Pyramid of Gizeh, it's really unbelievable. Of course I went there, and in real life it's not so big, but it's so difficult to build because there are shafts and they point to the Sirius star. And the Pyramid of Gizeh, it represents with the two other pyramids, the Orion constellation, the 3 stars, and the Pyramid of Gizeh points to itself, the star, the biggest star in the Orion constellation. And then they also have 2 shafts, and they point to the pole star, which represents Jesus, and to another star. So over 2,000 years ago, 3, 4, 5,000 years ago, or something like this, they built this thing, and now they live between garbage. I mean, how is that possible? It's not possible. They have been aided. This is a picture from Egypt today. It's unbelievable. But there's even more with the stars, because you have this Scorpion constellation in the stars, and it's a very big one with all these stars here, and they built the sacred places along the Nile perfectly in alignment with how the stars are in the sky. How could they have done this? There were no compasses at the time, but there also were no maps. So if you are in Egypt along this Nile, you should have looked to the sky, and you must have seen this constellation. Well, okay, that's possible, but then you had to copy it in your country along this river. How? They never could have done that. And this, for me, confirms that aliens could very well be real. Not some fake UFO pictures, but big things like this. So it's all about Egypt, and today this Egypt comes back in Israel. Israel, I-Israel, ISIS-Rael. And it's about control. And these Jewish Zionist rabbis, they control the politicians. Like the protocols of science say, what they have to do, you have to control the politicians to take over the world. And they are doing that. But they even came up with the European Union and also with the United States. Because it's easier to control at one time a big continent, one political structure, than all these little countries with all their presidents and kings and whatever. That's the way they think. Very big and very structured. And they also drink blood. I put this picture here because people say like, hey, you're talking about aliens, but it's really about the Jews. And I agree to a part. It's about aliens and the Jews. That's what it is about. And the pyramid comes back in the flag of Israel. Here's a pyramid and the pyramid upside down. The evil above us and the evil on earth. So it's all about aliens, and they were already in the Bible in Ezekiel. And many people have noticed it. But also in Genesis 6:2. That the sons of God saw the daughters of men and that they were fair. Yes, the white race women are extremely beautiful, it's true. They took them wives of all which they chose. So in the Bible, immediately we have two hints of aliens with Ezekiel and Genesis 6:2. Sons of God, they are the aliens, and the daughters of men, that's us. So it's aliens everywhere. And 9/11 is the most incredible one, for they have a master over them, the angel of the bottomless pit. And the bottomless pit is a wormhole. It's not a bottomless well, it's a wormhole, factual wormhole. And the angel, that's the alien, the aliens. It's just all metaphors and symbolism. That's what they love. And they've shown us this in Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls is a children's cartoon, but it's also a Jewish production, of course, like the Bible. Well, he says it must be some kind of wormhole here. It says bottomless pit. And this Jewish Zionist production has a lot of hints of aliens, the Bible. It's chock full of them. I will go so far to say that this is like the second Bible, the modern Bible. Because it gives us so much information about what's really going on in the world, and they state there are multiple dimensions, there are aliens that have come to earth, and they are evil. And the aliens are real, and the angels from the Bible, it's just a metaphor. And in Alice in Wonderland, it's the same. She's in our world, then she moves to the rabbit hole, a metaphor for a wormhole. And here again, the time, they show there's something wrong with time, just like with this Gravity Falls. And then she's in another world she doesn't understand. Yeah, of course she doesn't understand, because she's not from that world. That's what they're explaining. There are multiple worlds, multiple universes. So, here's Alice, then she goes through the wormhole, and then she's in another world. That's basically what it is. In The Wizard of Oz, with Dorothy, they always take girls to symbolize the white race, because we are stupid and naive, and we mean well. And here's the tornado, and it's again a metaphor for a wormhole. It's all explained. So they have hidden all this stuff, but now we come to the end time from the Bible, Revelation, the end time. It's all a plan, and they give us more hints of the truth. For example, in Doctor Strange, they clearly explain in Doctor Strange there are all these universes. It's a multiverse altogether. You can travel between these universes, and when you do that, you get this ring of fire. You go in and out of it. You don't walk in and out of it, probably. You have to use some machine. This is all symbolism. What you have to understand, they love symbolism and metaphors. And in the movie, yes, there actually is this ring of fire, and they can travel great distances within a universe, or go between universes. And in Jupiter Ascending, the same thing is described, and you see here that on the movie poster the letters, they wobble, because they explain in the movie when you enter our universe, time, space, time, whatever you want to call it, wobbles. It's explained here. And then there's the ring of fire, and then this spacecraft comes out. It goes that way. It enters our universe. I mean, this is really the clearest explanation, or the clearest way they've ever shown that this is how you move through universes. And they always, when something is true or real, they always emphasize it with another hint. And the hint here is that this wobbles too on the movie poster. So they enter our universe, and then they float here in space near Earth, and then it looks like a regular spaceship, but it isn't. These are not the thrusters. This is technology to open our dimension. Yeah, that's really incredible, but they show it crystal clear. You just have to pay attention. And in 2001 A Space Odyssey, in the book, not the movie is misleading, but in the book they tell it also very clearly. There's a cube on Jupiter, a black cube, and it is a stargate, an opening to a wormhole. And when you enter it, you go to other dimensions. So, in Time Bandits, because it's space-time, they made this movie called it Time Bandits. They've shown it the same way, with these cubes that you enter, or these rectangular doors, black holes, rectangular black holes. So they show it different ways. So with the doors, well, the doors, yeah, of course, they are the doors to another dimension. That's what the name of this band means, and I can prove that this is the truth. Supposedly, Jim Morrison said he got the name from this book from Aldous Huxley. A quote that he got from a William Blake book. He got it from another book. It said, "If the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. For man has closed himself up till he sees all things through narrow chinks of his cavern." So this is a bit of a mystical text, but basically it's true. But it's all not concrete. They don't say there are doors or pathways to another dimension. That's what's really the case. But instead of it, they make it into some mystical text that you have to meditate and open your mind to other possibilities and so. But that's all not true. That's all not true. It's more basic than that. And you saw Aldous Huxley making the one eye sign, because the one eye represents the all-seeing eye from the time of Egypt, Ra, or Satan. So he is showing here, I am a Satanist. And Billy Crystal does here exactly the same. I mean, this is no coincidence. The whole entertainment industry, they all do it. Practically everybody does it. Because they get the order to do it. To show that, hey, we are Satanists. Satan controls the entertainment industry. That if you did not know about this, put it on pause and look at all the faces of all these people, and some you will recognize. And they all show, yeah, it's Satan. And this comes again from the time of Egypt. Like the obelisk in Washington, and the name of Israel, Isis Rael, the flag of Israel, all these things come from Egyptian time. Because then they controlled Egypt, and now they control us too. And Miley Cyrus, she does it too. She also does the tongue for the Hindu god of destruction, Kali. And she has the chains because she's in the chains of Satan. And we have Metallica, kill them all. Well, what do you think it means? I mean, when will you grow up? This stuff all has meaning, of course. And the one I give a few examples. The pyramid sign. And here the one eye. The tongue for Kali. The one eye. But they even Megadeth, we get to these more obscure bands, they give much more concrete information. Like here's Washington, here you have all the politicians, and they are all under control of the aliens, Satan. And it says here, the system has failed. And this is what's going to happen. Sorry, but if you don't love the truth, they can do anything to you, of course. You believe all the lies, yeah, you're gonna get killed. And Megadeth made this album, and they made many albums with all these titles of songs that say so much. Sleepwalker, I mean, of course, that's 99% of the public. Washington is next. I mean, yeah. A Call to Arms, World War III is coming. United Abominations, I mean, what they think of us. Gears of War, Blessed Are the Dead, because what's coming is going to be so bad. Americanistan, they want to make America into a third world country. I mean, that's why they import all these people, all these people from third world countries. You're dead. That's what's coming. I mean, and here an angel. I mean, all these hints of angels, aliens, and wars that are coming and destruction. It's all so clear. And Cara Delevingne, she's really one of the most famous Satanists. She's everywhere in the fashion industry, music industry. She makes the one eye for Satan. But Jim Morrison, he did it himself too. But he was a total phony. Because he was into this Satanism, but he did not understand what it really was about. Maybe he liked to fool people and think like, okay, we're gonna kill them later because we're Satanists. And then he was getting killed. And he was totally into this mysticism. With Aleister Crowley, he had some things from Aleister Crowley that he used for some mystical sessions and so. I mean, it's incredible. This Aleister Crowley, that was on the Beatles album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, the Freemason, Aleister Crowley. I mean, it means nothing, but okay. And the Beatles were also totally satanic, because the music industry is satanic. It was satanic and it is satanic. And all these older people say, yeah, the Beatles, yeah, they changed our culture. Oh, really? They didn't, yeah, for the worst. For the worst, yes. Not for the better. They are all Satanists. I mean, you live in a dream world. It's really incredible. So we have this symbolism. Like in the Bible, it also says that the sons of God, the angels, they looked at the women of man, Genesis 6:2, and they took them as wives. And some artists made this into a painting. But we have to see it differently. This is like some mysticism, like not real. But if this is an alien that comes with an alien spaceship to Earth to take some of our women, then it becomes much realer, much more real, and we can understand it totally. And this is a metaphor. So we have these levels of understanding. Level 1 is for the totally stupid people. The government means well. We can trust the politicians and the army. We can trust the mainstream media, charities, etc. It's all false. Your own government wants to kill you through mass immigration. You pay taxes to finance your own extermination. This is level 1 for the totally insane. But then we have level 2. Here was Jim Morrison 2. And level 2, it says there are angels, UFOs, ghosts, meditating as meaning, etc. This is like the mystical things, but it's all false, all bullshit without any proof. But then we get to level 3, and then we can understand things. Angels and demons are a metaphor for aliens. Hey, that makes sense. That could be true. Satan is a metaphor for aliens. Even God is. That does make sense. The aliens made a deal with the Hasidic rabbis to deceive and test the people on earth. They made up the Jews to do the work for them. The bad part of the Jews, that is, the Zionist Jews. This is all rational. So when people say Satan controls the world, they are perfectly right. Only it's all real and factual. Satan means the aliens. This is probably true. This makes really good sense. And there are hints everywhere that this is true. When you think about it logically, Palestine was obtained on 9/11 to realize Israel. 9/11 was also on 9/11, of course, to give just two big examples of how 9/11 from the Bible, where they talk about this wormhole and aliens, how they put this on very big events, this stamp, like, we are the aliens, we came through a wormhole and we did this to you. We thought this all out. I think, based on facts, I don't believe it, based on facts, I think this is all real. And if you never thought about it this way, put it on pause and think about it. There's nothing that's more important. And Jim Morrison, he was clearly at level 2, the meditating, the third eye, the mysticism. But the doors are not mystical, the name of the band. Doors were real doors, metaphors for real pathways to another dimension. That's what the doors meant. And it fits perfectly into a blueprint, like in the Bible. We also had this wormhole that opens up for Ezekiel. And Alice in Wonderland, she goes to a rabbit hole, a wormhole, and she comes to in another dimension. Wizard of Oz, Dorothy goes through the tornado, through the wormhole, to another dimension. Again, Arthur C. Clarke, 2001 A Space Odyssey. Of course, it's no coincidence. 9/11 is hidden in here, in this book. He goes through the cube, through the Stargate, and he's in another dimension. So the doors fit in perfectly with this blueprint that in a very difficult to understand way, a difficult to accept way, they show us, like, we are the aliens, yeah, we came from another dimension, we control you. And in Time Bandits, this movie, they show it too. And of course in Jupiter Ascending it was shown again. But always not easy to understand, because this also goes very quickly in the movie. I don't think many people have noticed it, that the spaceship goes exactly the other way. I think most people that saw the movie, they just saw a spaceship with the thrusters here, and they thought, well, it moves that way, of course, but no, it moved the other way. This is to open a dimension. So it's always difficult to understand. And then they put in this children's cartoon the bottomless pit. It's a wormhole, There's no time in a wormhole. They show all these things. And with the doors, in one of the albums, they showed the Ring of Fire that they also showed in Jupiter Ascending and Doctor Strange. You go into the Ring of Fire to another dimension. That's what they show here. They also show the Sphinx for Zion. Many things are shown here. But this is the most important one. And this band, Rings of Saturn, they confirm all this stuff. And I take this band serious because they talk about aliens, but also that we are not worthy. We are corrupt. All these things they say. They don't talk about aliens like they shoot with laser guns and so, like it's some B movie or so. No, they really give wisdom. And that's why I take them serious. And they talk about the wormhole. Harness the elementary particles. The power of a black hole is at our disposal. And they explained in the movie Event Horizon that with a black hole, with this power of a black hole, they create wormholes. Why does some band have lyrics like this? Because it's the truth. Why else? You think they just came up with an explanation how wormholes work? Of course not. And they talk about here, abruptly the heavens divide and a portal appears, families abducted. They talk about what's going to happen. They're going to use these wormholes to abduct people. And they're going to kill us all. And they say, the horrific truth revealed, we fucking exist. Fought as a conspiracy, we make our presence known. So in the end time, the aliens are coming. They can show like, yeah, we were real after all. Is it possible that one band has all this incredible information? Just some boys have this incredible information? No, of course not. They are messengers of the aliens. That's highly likely. Because I also said all the religions come from the aliens, and they confirm that. Mindless psyche controlled and channeled through a series of religious tactics. They confirm everything. All the mystical stuff, the level 2 stuff is actually level 3 stuff. It's all real. Religions are not real. You are at level 2, you think, oh, there's God and He helps us. And there are angels, that's level 2. But if you go to level 3, very difficult. Then they say, it was just religious tactics to control you. That makes sense. The worship of a false deity has reached its end. Worshipping Jesus is of course at the end. Because we're all going to get killed. And Jesus is bullshit. They fought him out too. Speak of the devil and so he shall appear. I beg him that he may, so that I can slit him ear to ear. If the devil was real, you really think anybody would dare to write a lyric like that? Of course not. They show here Satan, the devil, is not real. He's a metaphor for the aliens. And they also say, ungrateful species of filth and corruption, we cast you into the void. So it will be fruitless existence, I mean the end of us. They explain it all. And of course they come from Saturn and they have this wormhole and they come to us through a wormhole. It's all in there. And here you have some alien lizard kind of thing being. So probably this is all real. All coincidence? How can it be coincidence that they explain everything? How we are controlled, what they're going to do to us, what they think of us. Jesus is not real. Satan is not real. They made up all the religions. They explain everything. That cannot be a coincidence. So the alien lizards, they might be real after all. And here you have Kissinger with Palin. Palin just a puppet. It was all a show. She's just controlled by the Zionist Jews, by the Hasidic rabbis, by the Cabal. Yeah. He said, who controls the money controls the world, and he's Jewish, a Zionist Jew. So there we have the Jewish hallmark, but the dollar, in the dollar is the pyramid of Gizeh and the all-seeing eye, the symbol for Satan. But who controls the dollar and the Fed? The Zionist Jews. The Volcker, Bernanke, this Greenspan, Bernanke, Yellen, they are all Jews. So here is a crystal clear connection between the Zionist Jews and the alien lizards, Satan. Because they decide, the Zionist Jews decide what is in the dollar. Do you get that? That's very important. So this is a very clear link between the aliens and the Jews. And that's why 9/11, that the Zionist Jews did, that Israel did, as proof for that, was in the dollar. First we had one twin tower, and then it started to collapse from the top. It's incredible. It's almost how it is basically how it really went. The tower collapsing was on 9/11, of course. So this all aliens, Jews mixed. Incredible. They are so closely linked together. So I'm not sparing the bad part of the Jews. No. The Jews are the chosen people of Satan. The Jews are the chosen people of the aliens. That's 100% true. And in the dollar they made something else, another link to the aliens. The eye in the dollar, in this triangle, is an alien lizard eye. Because lizards, they have these extra circles in their eye. We don't have that. But in the dollar, well, they made a lizard skin. We don't have skin like that. But as an extra confirmation, they made these lizard eyes. Why would they make all this effort when in reality, when you have a dollar, the eye is like super minuscule. You can never see this. You really have to get a microscope or so, or scan it and enlarge it to see this. So it's not for optical reasons. So then it looks better. The stupid people at level 1 who are stuck in a dream world, they say, yeah, they did this so visually the dollar looks better then. Yeah, right, but it's a minuscule eye in a real dollar. How can you? It has only one meaning. They hit the alien lizards again. That's what it is about. And this confirmation in the Wizard of Oz, the remake, Oz the Great and Powerful, where again the main character moves through a tornado. Again, he goes to another world. This is again a metaphor for wormhole. In the beginning of the movie, they show the same eye with all these rings, a lizard eye. And then I thought of something. Did they mean that the Wizard of Oz in reality is the Lizard of Oz? Is that the whole game? Is that the truth? It's not the Wizard of Oz, it's the Lizard of Oz. It sounds almost the same, and probably they mean that. It's one of their word tricks. The Lizard of Oz. Well, if you go back to the Doors, not to touch the earth. Strange lyrics, all about space, moon, the sun. And then here we have, I am the Lizard King, I can do anything. But we know they work with metaphors. So the Lizard King, well, could be a metaphor for all the alien lizards together. Or maybe they have one king. Who knows? It's not very relevant. But what they mean it concrete. I am the Lizard King. This is about an alien lizard. I can do anything. Yes, they can. So we have the doors, the wormholes to another dimension, and the lizard. So the lizard, the alien lizards, they came through these doors, through these wormholes, to our dimension. That's what the doors is about. And that's why we have in very old publications, etched in stone in Babylon, and this time probably big human-like lizards walking. Probably, because in that time they already came to Earth. The wormholes and the alien lizards. And they murdered Jim Morrison. They murdered him at the age of 27. And why did they do that? Well, it's very simple. 27 is 999. It's 9 plus 9 plus 9. And Satan, the alien lizards, the aliens, they want to turn everything around. So 999 makes 666. Satan. This is the explanation for Club 27. That's why they kill all these artists at 27. It's the only reason. It's very simple. So simple. And the Hasidic rabbis, they explained in the movie pi, from this mathematical number pi, they explained that the true name of God is 216. Because somebody in this movie thought of 216 all the time. Because 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. So here they multiply it and they come to 216. And with Club 27, they added them together. That's what they do. They hide things, they make metaphors, symbolism. So they say God is Satan. There is no God, there's only Satan. And unfortunately, I think that is 100% correct. There's zero evidence of any good God as we imagine from the Bible. But there is overwhelming evidence that there is a Satan, so the aliens, that pours misery after mass murder, after death and sorrow and killing over this earth. And that it's aliens who are behind this all. That's much more rational, much more likely. And this Club 27, it started already in 1892 with the murder of Alexander Levy. And I mention him because Levy is a Jewish name. This was probably a Jew. Because we should not divide, of course. I mean, there are good Jews and evil Jews, yes. But if we say that all Jews are evil, it's not the truth. This was probably a Jew, a Brazilian Jew, and he was murdered at 27. So he was not one of them. And most people learned from this Club 27 only in the 70s when Brian Jones was murdered. And then they murdered Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Kurt Cobain later. All these famous people at 27. I mean, at 999, at 666. Who in their right mind can deny this? I mean, only arrogant people that are stuck on level 1 think this is coincidence. It cannot be coincidence. And in our time, Amy Winehouse was murdered, and she gave an interview before her death on the BBC. And she said in this interview, they wanted to put me in a pyramid with the Illuminati, but I refused. And then she was murdered. Because this beautiful girl was totally sane, totally healthy. She was also Jewish, and she refused to join the Illuminati or Satanists or Zionist Jews, all the same. So this is factual proof that not all Jews are involved. She was not involved. And Jim Morrison was quickly buried, and she was buried too, and they always say like she died of too much drinking. Yeah, at 27, yeah, of course. You can take almost anything at 27. You don't die of too much drinking or drugs. It's impossible. And they also killed Robin Williams, but he was an insider. She was innocent, but this idiot was a Satanist. Here you see him making the one eye with full conviction and making the satanic sign. He was one of them, or yeah, he was not a Hasidic rabbi, so not at the highest level, but he was a Satanist. And probably because he was not funny anymore, they grew totally sick of him and they murdered him. And his murder was announced in this Family Guy episode, where they were talking about suicide. And his death, they announced it in the mass media. At the same time, this episode aired on BBC Three. I mean, how many coincidences do you want? This is all set up, it's a game. And the Boston Marathon bombing was also in Family Guy. I mean, because they know everything. Everything is planned in advance. And they put it in TV series. Yeah, okay, that's what they do. And Brittany Murphy, this movie star, was also murdered. And on the movie poster of her last movie, she makes the one eye, the satanic eye. But she had no idea what she was doing. Movie Something Wicked. Her last movie was a clear hint that she was going to get killed. But just like Amy Winehouse, she did not understand. And they said, yes, she died of drugs. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this beautiful woman who looks totally healthy died of drugs. But her father, he said in an interview, Angelo Bertolotti, he said that she was murdered because she supported whistleblower Julia Davis. And she was gonna testify in this case of Julia Davis, for Julia Davis against the government. And he said Julia and Brittany were under surveillance, including helicopters, warrantless aerial surveillance, fixed-wing airplanes, Black Hawk helicopters, vehicular surveillance, internet monitoring, telephones were wiretapped. This was all going on. And then she was murdered. And then her husband, Simon Jack, was found dead 5 months later. In the same bedroom, under the same circumstances. So first she gets murdered, and then her husband gets murdered. And according to the mass media, she was a drug addict. And she died of pneumonia. I mean, who believes that? That she was a drug addict. It's not reasonable to believe that. She was going to testify in an important law case. And she was a drug addict? Of course not. But this time there was something different, because an independent laboratory, the independent Carson Company laboratories, they did an analysis of her hair, and they said that it was full of rat poison, of metals. And they said the only logical explanation would be an exposure to these metals administered by a third-party perpetrator with likely criminal intent. Well, you can read it all if you want. They said she would probably received rat poison to kill her. So for a rare change, the truth came out. Murdered. And her husband was also murdered 5 months later. Well, what do you expect? When the Hasidic rabbis, they control presidents. Bush, Obama, Trump, a Satanist. They control everybody. So they control 90% of the government probably. The problem is not that it isn't clear what's going on. The problem is that most people rather live in a luxurious, phony world, see other people get killed, and wait until it's their turn. But they fool themselves that for them it will be different. They rather do this than start thinking about the truth. So, Brittany Murphy, murdered by some government branch, perfectly feasible, of course. And just before she was murdered, they made this picture of her in some satanic setting. And it means, of course, that she's going to be offered to Satan. We're going to kill you as an offer for Satan. That's basically what it means. This is the satanic hallmark of her murder. Of course, the masks, the hoods. And she still did not understand it. I mean, that's awful. So little people understand all this Satanism. And with Prince, it was even more obvious still. Because in The Simpsons, they said, we control celebrities. But some of these celebrities, they don't listen to us good enough. Will you kill them for us, Homer? It's literally, you can look it up. Okay, we'll do it. Then he goes to Prince and he chokes him to death. And then he beats him to death and he's dead. He murders Prince and Prince dies in real life. I mean, what do you want more? In this case, nobody has to do any research, it's clear. I mean, his death is announced in The Simpsons. This is Prince. And then he was murdered. They give you the truth. I mean, but you are so stuck on level 1 with the government means well. The mass media, AIDS is real. In Africa, hunger is real. We have to give for 50 years to Africa and nothing changes. That's impossible. And you still believe it. World War I, World War II, all set up for Israel. But you believe all the lies. And Jim Morrison was murdered not like the Prince, like it was announced in such a way, but more like the Brittany Murphy way. And he was a total Satanist. And he registered even the name Led Zeppelin before the band Led Zeppelin. Because it's a reference to Seth, to Satan. He was a total Satanist. And just before his murder, he went to some antiques fair near Paris and they made some pictures of that. And this picture is one of the last pictures made of Jim Morrison. And what does she wear here? Yeah, the black hood, like a wizard. Like same with Brittany Murphy. They told her to do this, of course. I mean, I'm not saying that she was in the know, that she knew, okay, I'm going to wear this and now Jim is going to be offered to Satan. I am a symbol for one of the wizards. I don't know if she knew that, but I think she did, actually, to be honest. So, Jim Morrison, Brittany Murphy, I mean, just before their death, they made a picture with the black hood. I mean, come on, people. That's crystal clear. It was all planned, of course. They wanted to get rid of Brittany Murphy because she was going to support a government whistleblower, and he was going to be a member of the Club 27, the 999, 666 Club. That's why they killed him, and they showed it like this. And here's a picture made before with a book, with a skull on the book, and all these little hints. And Pamela Corsair, she was on the picture with this hood, and she was killed later, supposedly of an overdose of heroin. How can all these good-looking young people just die of some drugs? And then in real life we have all these older drug addicts that have been addicts for years and years and years, and they become 40, 50, 60. It doesn't make sense. Jim Morrison killed at 27, then Pamela Corsair also killed at 27. That's the real world. And you are not famous. They're not gonna kill you this way, but they're gonna kill you with false Ebola, poison injections, World War III. All this stuff is coming. So we have the doors to another dimension. I am the Lizard King. This is all real. The Lizard and the Wizard of Oz, and the original poetry of Jim Morrison. The lords, the new creatures. the lizards. Jim Morrison was not a lizard king or so. They are the lizard kings, the alien lizards that control us. He was just stupid at level 2, with all his Satanism and mysticism. He didn't understand there was a level 3, probably, real alien lizards. So we had the Wizard of Oz. This is from the Wizard of Oz, probably the Lizard of Oz. Yeah. And then his biography was called No One Here Gets Out Alive. That's probably a hint for us. No one gets out of this dimension alive. No one gets out of this world alive. We on Earth, we all gonna get killed. That's what they're saying. So alien lizards from another dimension. In 2001 Space Odyssey, the wormhole. In Alice in Wonderland, the wormhole. In The Lizard of Oz, the wormhole. The Doors, the wormhole. And I admit, if papers, books and popular culture were full of this, what I explained to you now, then I would agree that's information to fool us. But it isn't understood, all these things. It isn't in books and papers or TV. Ask your dad or your mom, when they were young when Jim Morrison was killed, if they know about this black hood, this picture, and the Satanism, the Club 27, do they understand? 27, 999, 666, also obvious. Nobody understands. People are stuck at level 1 or level 2 of understanding. Jim changed our culture. He was a mystic. He was the Lizard King. Of course not. 2001 Space Odyssey was so ahead of its time. This is what people say. Ahead of time with what? What do you mean? The Bible is just a story. No, it isn't. It's full of hints of aliens. Alice in Wonderland. It's so cute. No, it isn't. The Lizard of Oz. It's America's favorite fairy tale. No, America is a fairy tale. The whole world is a fairy tale. And the truth is given in all these hidden places. So get to level 3 or very soon you will meet the same fate as Jim, only in a different way.